Hi everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make this super fun birthday card. You could really change this to anything. It's pretty cool because we're using Parakeet Party and Lemon Lime Twist, and I'm going opposite. I believe, yeah, Parakeet Party is the darker one, right? Right, yeah. So Parakeet Party, and then we have a layer of Lemon Lime Twist. This is just some DIY DSP. You guys know how much I love to do that. And then you could make this simple or easy. So for this, I actually ended up using the Stylish Shapes, the small circle. But if you didn't want to cut it out, you could either punch a slightly larger circle. But I think that the dimension on that, if you can see, really makes this a super fun card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. Oh, also one other thing I wanted to show you. Where are they? Oh, here they are. I try to keep them separate. These are the Glossy Dots assortment. And these are, oh, I can't remember what the colors are of these, but these are current. This is probably one of the few current embellishments that I have. I just kind of added a couple of these, and this one I actually made it so it looks like it's stitched, but I just drew black dots on there. So we're going to show you, this is a little bit of a longer card. So if you want to, I'm just going to leave these out. If you want to grab like a drink or something, because this is a little bit longer of a card. However, it's really fun. So I'm going to use this with my kit that I have here. So this piece, I believe it is 2 by 4. No, 2 by 4 and 3/4. Okay, so that layer is going to go on here. So we have our regular base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then this piece of Lemon Lime Twist is 4 by 5 1/4. This piece again measures 2 by 4 3/4. I have a piece for the inside, which is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I just have a scrap. So when we've been doing card clubs lately, I'm not sure where I saw this idea, but if you do card clubs, the one where you're cutting it, I think Angie Judah was saying, I saw it with her. She might have shared it from somebody else, but what I do is I cut a little notch out of it so they know that this one is the one that they're going to do all of their stamping and die cutting for. So this, or die cutting or fussy cutting. So this is going to be the one that you use for the taco, the burrito, and then the guac and chips. And then you could use your sentiment. I also did a little hat here. So this can be kind of your piece you're cutting everything from. But I want to show you one other thing. When you trim up your cardstock, so say you're cutting a piece down for whatever reason, so you have a full sheet of cardstock and you're trimming it down, usually you'll end up with these little scrap strips. So you could use this for your holy guacamole because it's a little teeny bit tiny, but you could use it for that if you're using something smaller. But don't throw away these strips. They're great for little sentiments if you need something kind of quick and handy. So let me just pull out one other thing so I don't forget. So my Stylish Shapes, we use the second smallest stitched circle for that, okay? So, and that's the other thing. You do need 3 stitched circles. So you would do like your 3 circles, your pieces that you're going to cut out, and then your sentiment will all go in there. So this has lots of different shapes for it, which are really fun. And you could, if you wanted to use this piece instead, you certainly could, but I was just kind of fussy cutting one. So there always is the option for that, just depending on what you want to do. All right, so we have our inside. I'm going to set that on the side. We have our layering piece, which we don't really need. So what we're going to do to begin is I'm going to stamp all of my little extra pieces, and then we will do our DIY DSP. Now, full disclosure, unfortunately, I can't find the winky face for that. So I don't know if we lost it at club or if I lost it here in my craft room. But we are going to get out. So we need our taco, our burrito, our cactus. We need the hat. And then chips and salsa. You are going to use the little mustache. You don't want to do those until the end. We're going to do our little regular smiley face, which is this one. Something else and the candy. The little kind of candy Fiesta pieces here. That's pretty much it, I think. Oh, and we need our sentiment. Holy guacamole, it's your birthday. And I think that's it. And I'm going to set this on the side so I hopefully don't lose anything else. All right, so to begin, A couple things. You can use VersaFine. It gives super detail, but the thing with VersaFine is you have to let it dry. You can use this for blends once it's dry, or embossing, or just not watercoloring, because you need something that is, if you're doing watercoloring, you do want to use Stays On. Okay, because it will not bleed. So Stays On, or if you do this with like a clear embossing powder to set it, because otherwise it will bleed. So this is typically my black of choice, but since I'm going to do some blend coloring and I need it to dry, I'm going to just go with Memento, because this is not a Stampin' Up! Product. You can find this in Amazon, many other places, but it's really great for detail. So I do really like that. So I'm going to go with my Memento for now. And let me move this over. We're going to just, this and this, we're going to keep over here, and the face. And I'm going to do the other things first. So I'm going to do my taco, and I'm kind of just trying to keep them to one side. So taco, let me just grab really quickly my chamois so I can clean this off. And burrito. Oop, that's a little goopy. Let's see if that's okay. Burrito, yep. And my guac. And I'll tell you all the colors that I used for this. And my chips as we go along. I'm kind of trying to put these all in one area so I can trim them and they kind of will be together. All right, and then I also do need, and I'm going to go down one block size. Oops, just because this is smaller, so I'm trying not to get a lot of overlap if I can help it. I do need a sombrero to cut out. Put that there. And, okay, we're still going to need our sombrero, so I'm going to leave that mounted. And then we're going to also need our cactus mounted. Sentiment. I'm going to put that there for now. And our candies. And the faces. So the faces you want to do after everything is said and done. So I have my happy face and my little, I must ask you a question. Where's my other little block? So I'm going to leave those faces on the side because they do need to be done, but not until afterwards. All right, and now what we're going to do, let me move this over here because we are going to need our hats as well. I'm going to set this to dry for a moment. And now we're going to go ahead and do our cacti. So basically, we're going to do the cactus and the hat kind of at the same time. Now, if you look at these cacti close, you can see right here, I did not mask. I just did my best to kind of line it up. So I'm going to just stamp the cactus. And you can either rotate your paper. You don't want them all to face the same direction. That's kind of the fun part of it. Leave a little room for your hat, but it doesn't need to be a ton. And here. Then, so now I'm going to grab that and add the hat. So one hat, oops, see, that was just a teeny bit over. One hat we're going to not put on, that way it's cut out and added with that die cut. I shouldn't say die cut. I keep saying die cut. We're going to add it with our fussy cut. That's the word I'm going for. So I'm going to put the fussy cut one here. This one doesn't need one. So I'm going to set this to the side. So I'm done with the cactus. Then I'm going to grab my candy. Confetti and candy. And I'm just kind of filling this in haphazardly. Let's see where this will go. We'll just kind of put that in there like a party. It doesn't really need, if it overlaps something, oops, that I didn't stamp hard enough. If it overlaps something, it's fine. Just kind of trying to rotate it so it has different parts. Let's see if we can go here. Because it doesn't have to be like a whole lot of anything. You just want something to kind of fill the space. So that's good enough. I don't want to go too much. So I'm going to set this on the side for a minute because we are still going to need this, but we're going to do something else in the meantime. Let me just clean off these stamps that we're finished with so I can put them to the side and hopefully not lose another piece. All right, so now what we're going to do is this needs to dry. So we're going to let that set off for a moment. We're going to come in here and we're going to work on these. So I kind of did a huge mix of stuff, so please forgive me if I'm not using the exact same thing, but I did use Poppy Parade for the bowl. So dark and light Poppy Parade. Since this is kind of small, I'm going to start with the smaller tip of the Stampin' Blends. So I'm going to go with the middle. I'm going to kind of leave just a little bit of white space. And remember, we are fussy cutting this, so if you go outside the lines, it's okay. Now I'm going to go to the dark. So I'm going to have the dark across the top and on the side and the feet. So I'm purposefully going outside the lines right now, just because I know I'm trimming it. And then I'm going to close up the bullet tip, and I'm just going to go in lightly with my brush tip, just leaving that little white spot. All right, so that was pretty much it for that. I'm going to use the light, not the dark. Now we're going to go in with Granny Apple Green, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with the guac with the light. I got to tell you guys, so the other week, this is just a little sidebar while I'm coloring. The other week, I went and had my glasses redone, and I didn't want to buy new frames. So first off, let me tell you this. I thought I had my glasses done 2 years ago. The last time I had my glasses was in 2019. So hello, that's way longer than I thought. But I was trying not to buy new frames because the frames that I got prior were a little expensive. I'm just going to go ahead over here and add a little lettuce, and then I'm also going to use a little bit of this for tomato for my burrito. So I'm just adding a little bit on both. So I was kind of thinking, and that was dark. No, that was light. My apologies. And then same thing, light with the Poppy Parade. I was like, I can probably make it without my glasses. It's no big deal. I mean, you know, I don't wear them like every waking hour, but I wear them definitely a lot more, which is why I realized that I needed them. So I'm going to do the same thing. These rounder ones are going to be tomatoes. So 1, 2, 3, and the other will be lettuce. So I'm just going in. I probably should use the smaller tip so I don't run into the actual taco part. So I'm like, the girl said, are you going to be okay without your glasses? It's probably going to take 10 days. And I was like thinking to myself, sure. I mean, I don't need them that much. Well, let me tell you, I can't really see much without them, especially in all the daily tasks of things that I'm trying to do. Like maybe look at the print on here, which is pretty small. I mean, it's not that small, but holy moly. I will be so happy when my glasses finally come back in and I will be able to see again without straining, because I didn't realize how much I strain my eyes. It's a lot. And I'm also going to use these for these guys, but I'm going to let that dry another minute. It's just insane the amount that you use things that you just really, truly don't realize. So now I have So Saffron, and being honest with you, I think I used Daffodil Delight on these. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't use this. This is way too light. And I'm trying to remember because it's been a little bit since I created this card, so forgive me. I'm pretty sure I used Daffodil Delight. Yeah, so we're going to go with Daffodil Delight. And then light and dark. And I did use, yeah, that's much more yellow. That's better. I used just a little bit of wild wheat, I think. No, yeah, wild wheat on the edge of this. It was light wild wheat, though. So my tips on these are really worn, but I'm trying to just get the rest of the use out of them that I can. Oh, this one's super bad. Let me go to the other end. I'm trying to find a way that I can kind of mark these. Oh, you know what? I just ended up using Dark Daffodil Delight. This is exactly the same. Never mind. But I'm going to need something to blend it with. I'm trying to find a way that I can use these longer, because blends, you know, things are expensive, first of all. Let's just be honest about it. And we do use these in club, but constantly replacing things, unfortunately, is, you know, it's difficult because, you know, I'm not a huge demo. I'm just a, we'll say hobby, but hobby with a problem. Maybe that's the better way to put it. Let me go ahead and do my chips while I'm up here. I'm going to go back to my light again. My light is still slightly functioning. We'll go center, and we'll just add a little bit with the dark. But trying to keep costs down. So do you guys have a way that you annotate when you have used something, or like if you're at the end of life with something but you still want to use the other end? I was thinking of maybe, like for this one, for example, putting an X on the cap, and then that way I'll keep this part facing out. Maybe that's an idea, but I'm kind of just trying to get as much use out of it before I chuck it. But I have all my blends organized in a Spectrum Noir tray, which I got from Amazon. I think it was on clearance. So I'm going to do a little wild wheat. I feel like that's the color I use for this. I'm going to go with light first. Let's see. Yeah, I think I used multiple. So I'm going to actually go with light on the outside. This is light wild wheat. And kind of at the seam there and the bottom. And then I'm going to bring in, again, my dark Daffodil Delight and see if I can kind of blend it. Yeah, that's definitely the ticket. So it kind of depends. You can make your burrito as light or dark as you want. So that was dark Daffodil Delight and light wild wheat. I'm going to put the dark wild wheat away because I didn't use that one at all. So that looks pretty good. The only other thing I need to do is my sombrero. Now, when I did the sombrero, and you might think, well, why didn't you just stick with your Stampin' blends? I actually ended up switching to my Stampin' Right markers because I have the new ones with the tip that is a little bit easier to use. I kind of just changed a couple of the colors for them. This is Pumpkin Pie. And I kind of changed up most of the colors. Tahitian Tide we'll go with. Whoop. Tahitian Tide is still the old style. So I'm going to just use the brush tip for this. There we go. And so we have orange. How about green? We will bring in Parakeet Party. So I'm in the process of kind of changing some of my ink pads. I finally ordered a new Early Espresso, and I got some new Stampin' blends. So you can see that bled a little bit because this one was a little overzealously inked. But we're going to leave this just for a sec, and we're going to come back over here to these now. I also want to grab Fresh Freesia. Fresh Freesia, I think I used, maybe it was red, real red. I'm gonna grab Poppy though instead. Yeah. And the funny part is I probably colored these with my older markers because they're a little bit lighter. So we're going to begin again. I'm just going to go the same way I started with the light Granny Apple in the brush tip, and I'm just kind of staying in the center for all of them. So light, light. You don't really want to press super hard, and you kind of want to make sure when you're using these Stampin' blends, especially if they're your own, using them for a party is a little bit different because kind of everybody has their own coloring style, and you have to be a little bit forgiving for that portion. But using them when you do it, you want to make sure you flip the brush around so you're kind of not wearing the really nice brush tip out to one side. Just flipping it, and I'm pressing super lightly. I know it looks like I'm holding it tight, I am, but I am really brushing very, very lightly. Then I'm going to go in with my dark, and I'm kind of just picking one side where I want to make darker. And I'm going to kind of try to stick with that same side for most of them, even if the direction isn't necessarily the same. So I'm always going to make the left cactus branch and the left side of the cactus darker. And these spots where I'm running into the hat, so the hat is going to lay over top of the cacti, I'm just not coloring up there. I'm kind of trying to keep the shading the same, and then we can always kind of over cover with the hat. I hope that makes sense. This one, we're going to actually fussy cut the hat, even though it's going to be upside down, because I really didn't look at that as well as I should have. So, but it's okay. It's a super fun card. Everyone at Stamp Club said this one was their favorite one to make. So we did this one. We did the bird. We did the, I'm going to go back in now and reblend with the light. We did the watermelon from the kiwi, which was so fun. And I mentioned this last time, but just in case you didn't happen to necessarily hear it, of course I forgot to link it because life is crazy and my blog hasn't been updated in some time because I just haven't had the time to do the product. So I got the videos done, but the pictures and the product are just a little delayed. So I hope you'll forgive me for that. But the Creative Teacup. If you're on, I don't know if she is or isn't on Facebook. I'm fairly certain. I know everyone in the world is on TikTok except for me, but I'm fairly certain she probably is on TikTok as well, but she is also on Instagram, which if you follow me on Instagram, you can just look her up. She is I'm fairly certain, a Dutch demonstrator. I'll put it to you that I think she's Dutch. I cannot understand what she says, which sounds ridiculous. That sounds really rude, and that's not the way I'm intending it, but in my limited dialect, I'm assuming she's Dutch. If I'm wrong, someone can feel free to correct me. But even though you can't understand what she's saying unless you speak Dutch, she is fabulous, and you can 100% follow along with her videos because, you know, I think crafting passes any language, regardless of what language you're speaking. All right, so I have all my cacti done. And now I'm going to go in and just do my hats just kind of in different colors. So I have my brush tip on my newer markers, so I'm kind of just changing. So this is fresh freesia, and then I'll just put some fresh freesia. I'm kind of trying to keep the same colors so they're all similar. I don't know if I did that on the die cut one. Oh, of course I didn't. So no continuity there. That's just me being the blonde that I am. And we'll put a little bit over here. And while I have this out, I'm just going to do like a couple of the candies. So this one will have fresh freesia candy. You can kind of follow the squigglies if you want. All right, so fresh freesia. And then we're going to move on to Tahitian Tide. So I'll just do this little candy here in Tahitian Tide. I'll show you something else I did too, which maybe you'll appreciate. Okay, I'm going to put this on the side because I did it with that color. Poppy Parade. Oh, guess what I forgot to do? Silly. Let's see. This one's newer, so it might color okay. Yeah, I know a lot of people like the fine tip end. Personally, it's not my favorite, which is why I really love the new redesign, in case you haven't noticed. Ooh, forgot this one altogether. We'll do the top for this one. The new redesign of the markers. I like the new nib way better. All right, now, so you can see it's got a bullet tip. This is not real red, correct? Yes, it's Poppy Parade. This is the part where I'm covering up where I overstamped my cactus head. And I can't really use green for that. I don't even know why I bothered getting that out. That wasn't particularly smart. I'm going to put, what is this? Parakeet Party. I'm going to put that back and trade for Orchid Oasis. Let's see, a little Orchid Oasis here. And just finishing this one up. Oh gosh, boy, I just goofed that one up. I did two of them in the same color. That's what happens. You can't stamp and talk at the same time. And you come over here. I'm going to make this, oops, candy over here. Orange. Orange. Get everything. Make this orange. Okay, so the other thing I went and did, and you may or may not be able to see this here, the little 3 dots. I just took my, this is what these are really nice for. I took this and I kind of did little groupings of 3. So I just added little bits of extra confetti just in places where there was a lot of white space. groups of 3 are very pleasing to the eye. So that's why I did that. So that is everything colored in. And now we're going to go back and add our faces. So I have my smiley face. I'm going to do the burrito, or not the burrito, the mustache face for the taco and the burrito. So I'm going to stamp him. Cool. Cute. And now I just have my little, just a little happy face. And you could do some of these lighter, some of them darker. Yeah. But I think you definitely, with the blends, you do definitely need a full strength face on there. Cute. Okay. There's that. I do need real red for my sentiment. Oh, nuts. Look at that. I got black somewhere. Goofed that one up. Let me ink this. I'm going to put it over here. That's good enough. I'm going to cut. Nah, it's not. Of course it's not. We're going to go like this. So I'm going to cut these out of here. I'm going to just save myself a little effort here. I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to redo this so it's on a corner. So I'm kind of just spacing it how I think it should be. That's good. All right. And then we need to do our 3 circle die cuts, so we'll get that. All right, let me move these. Let me just clean them so I don't goof something up. That's probably how I lost the face. Maybe I should check my chamois. Maybe one stuck to it in some happy accident. Let's hope that would happen. All right, so I'm going to just move these all to the side. Okay. All right, so I'm going to do a little fussy cutting. It actually looks much more in depth than it is. Probably the hardest to cut will be the chips. So again, just depends. So what you want to do when you're fussy cutting, some people do this while they're watching television, but basically the best thing to do is just to make sure it doesn't have to be super close, but you are really just moving your paper. You're keeping your scissors right where they are. You do need a really sharp pair of scissors. So we do sell paper snips, but you can also get these at pretty much any craft store. They're not really that hard. I originally started with a pair of, I have since lost them mysteriously, a pair of yellow and black, I say Bumblebee, I think they're called Cutter Bee scissors. They were great. They're about the same size as the paper snips. Fiskars also sells them, but you just need a good pair of snips. Or some people also like to use a device called a scan and cut. I don't have the pleasure of having one of those, but I hear they're amazing. So those, I think what you do is you stamp stuff and then you feed it through and somehow it reads the edge and die cuts them. But I think you have to die cut them and then color them after the fact. So I'm going to take a little care here. I'm going to fix this portion in a minute, but I'm just following this with my scissors. I'll get the feet in a sec. Because I went a little overboard on my coloring here, I'm going to try to cut out the feet. There we go. That's good. These, I ended up just trimming them the best I can and kind of keeping them together as the 3 tortilla chips because I certainly wouldn't want to try to get that last one. 3 tortilla chips. They're like the 3 Amigos. Anybody like that movie? Martin Short. Is that Chevy Chase, I believe, and Steve Martin. They're funny. I think they're on a movie set. Meanwhile, they're fighting real bad guys in the town. That I don't know. 80s movies just had something different about them. They were all so much funnier. I like a lot of movies today. I think one of my favorite more recent movies are the Jumanji series that they redid. But, oh, and Ghostbusters Afterlife. That is the most recent, not the one with the ladies, the other one. But some of them, you're just like, did we just run out of good ideas? Or did we just have so many better ideas back in the 80s? I mean, I don't understand. All right, I'm going to take this sentiment. I might have cut that just a little closer than I wanted to, and I'm going to trim straight across on the bottom, or the top, sorry. Straight across on the bottom. This is probably a little tighter than I wanted, but it's okay. Just cutting in the middle and nipping. And see if we can do the same over here. Just cutting in the middle, and then I'm cutting from corner to corner. There we go. Okay, so I have that. And the only other thing I have to do is just die cut my 3 circles, which is, unfortunately, I have to do this 3 times, so it's going to take a minute. So you just grab my magnetic plates, my 2 cutting pads, and I'm going to run this through 3 times. Now, you could omit this, but I think something about them being die cut and then popped up on something is very, very cute. This is probably one of the reasons some demos have more than 1 set of dies, which is great, but just don't have the funding to justify that. 2, all right, 1 more, we're almost there. So I did all of that extra die cutting, stamping, fussy cutting from 1 extra sheet. So that was a 4 by 5 1/4 piece. So there you go. And we're going to move that off to the side. And now we're going to move this over, assemble our card. So get a clean piece so I don't get any stuff all over this. And also, you could totally stamp something on the inside. Sometimes I know people save that for after the fact. So what we're going to do is we're going to work with our pieces. Let me just hit this quickly with my bone folder. All right, so we're going to glue this piece here. Remember, we still have our little hat to put on. And before we do that, one more thing, because, you know, they need a little something. So I'm going to give these hats, this hat in particular, I'm going to give a little wink of Stella. We'll just do that for the hats. Just be careful with Wink of Stella because, and here I am going from light to dark, when you use Wink of Stella, it does reactivate the ink a little bit. So if you are going from a dark to a light ink, you could actually bleed it in. So just kind of be a little careful with that. We're going to need this because I'm going to use this for the guac as well. I'm going to grab some of my, you need the smaller ones for this. So mini dimensionals, I'm just going to put a mini dimensional right here. Pull this off. I just want to get just this little teeny bit. I didn't get quite, kind of have like a pinhead on that hat. I'm going to put that here for that. Okay, this is going to get some liquid glue. Haven't used this glue in a while. It must be just the old shut. That's okay. We'll move on. Even with my tipsy, it's not wanting to do that. Now I could, if I wanted this guy to be right side up, flip him over. And this has a smudge, so I'm going to cover it up. But I'm going to just keep him as is. So kind of just eyeballing or centering there. Okay. Then we're going to just lay our 3 circles down and see how we like them. Looks pretty good. So I think I'm going to do my center first. To the side. We had some insane weather last night here on the Mid-Atlantic in Maryland. That's where I messed up, but nobody's going to know anyway, except for everybody that's watching. This lightning, it was ridiculous. We ended up having a tornado watch, which I don't know how people deal with those on a regular basis because, God bless you, that is crazy. But I told Christian, hey, at least we got one because a long time ago, people didn't get tornado warnings. It was, it came and that was it. So we are very, very, very lucky that we had a tornado warning, even though there was no tornado. So I'm just going to kind of off kilter that one a little bit. Also, just a little bit of Wink of Stella on the taco. Try to avoid the face because you don't want to re-wet that black ink. A little on our burrito man. So we did have some zany weather last night. which we went to the basement around 11:45 and came back upstairs at about 12:30 this morning. However, we're all fine. This one's going to go up here on the lettuce. And finally, we have our bowl of guac. Now, I want to tell you one other thing. People in club love this so much that they couldn't bear to put a sentiment on the front. So if you also feel that way, you could just put it on the inside. I'm just going to put 3 little mini dimensionals on these chips. That way none of them end up sagging. Well, before I put this down, I'm going to just hit this just a little bit with my Wink of Stella. Okay. And uno, dos, tres. Put my chips kind of over there. And prior to finishing with this, I want to just go back with my black Stampin' Right marker, and just to give the illusion of the stitch shape, I just kind of picked a spot in the middle and went 2, 3, 2, 3. Same on this one. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. You could do it around the top as well, but I thought it was cute enough just as it was. And I'm going to put this up on dimensionals. I know I always tell you not to use black dimensionals on white paper, but I think since this is red, and also I kind of just went with it. So let's see. Yeah, we'll go right here. Okay, that looks cute. And let me put some glue on the back here. Make sure this opens correctly. Yep. And I'm going to layer this onto the front. This was a super, super, super fun card to create. Again, this one was not my idea, but I think it is absolutely adorable. So this one, just because, you know, why not? Let's just go ahead and do... I'm going to do a little cactus on the inside, just for the heck of it. And I probably should have done this ahead of time, but it's okay. We'll put him here. And then I'm going to attempt to, where's my hat? Put the hat so it's a little off kilter on this one. Ooh, it worked. How you like that? And I'm just going to give this a minute. I'm going to go ahead and glue it in while we're waiting. And I'm going to color this. So same thing, Granny Apple Green. I'm going to go back to markers for this. So let me go on to this one. This one, you want to make sure you don't accidentally go outside the lines, because you either forgot that you're not going to fussy cut this. But again, we have Fresh Freesia. The top one was Orchid Oasis. And then the bottom will be Tahitian Tide. Maybe not very Mexican hat colors, but cute nonetheless. We'll just go with this. Doot, doot, doot. Cute. You can even take this if you want to. A little swirly Z, I guess we will call it. And I'm going to again go in with my light. So I usually like to do light, dark, light. So light. Try to be a little more careful. I'm going to use my bullet tip. I'm going to just continue with the same shading. Since we have this on a base of a cardstock already, we shouldn't have any issues with bleeding. And then back to the light. It really is very cool, if you can see this, the way that shading just, it lightens everything up. It looks so neat. It's so cool. I just love it. Now let me see. I have one other face. We'll do the surprise face. Let's see. cute. Oh, I did that in VersaFine. I'm going to have to give that a second to dry, but that is our finished card. Oh, one thing I forgot I wanted to do. Let me just move these out of the way. Giving that just a sec to dry. I want to do the little gems. And I'm going to grab my jewel picker. This is not a Stampin' Up! Product. I really struggle with using the take your pick with the putty part, so I use this instead. All right, so I'll just kind of go with the same. Oh, look, now this is making me look like a fibber. Hello. And I kind of stuck with the smaller ones because I thought the other ones might be just a little too much. And I feel like I did one of each. 1, 2, we'll put one over here. 1, 2, 3. So there's our triangle. 1, 2, 3. It's very obtuse. And that's it. Okay, so there you go. Super fun. Put the cap on my glue so I don't lose it. Super fun card. Great for any occasion. Is it a lot of work? Maybe. But the other thing you have to remember is you can make a whole bunch of these. You can make a whole sheet. So if you did a whole 8.5 by 11 with the cacti, you stamp them all in different directions, color them all at the same time, stamp the hats on, color them all at the same time, add in all the little like side pieces here, do it all at once, and then cut down strips, and you could have a whole bunch of cards. Now, in that case, maybe you wouldn't want to necessarily do all of these fussy cut. You could just actually do a larger circle and put them on, but a lot of fun, if you ask me. I like fussy cutting, and I love, one of my absolute favorite things to do is DIY DSP. So that's probably my favorite portion of this card, is just the doing it yourself, the cactus background. So would you try this card? Maybe make one, maybe make a couple, send it to your BFF or your crafting friend that you do cards with or share cards with or whatever. Or is this just totally not your style and you're looking for something simpler? Hey, everybody has a different answer, and no answer is wrong because we're all at different places in our crafting journey. So I love this. I think it was very fun to make, fun to color, fun to play with, but also I really like using Stampin' Blend, so that probably influences my decision at least a little bit. So I want to thank you so very much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this card or enjoyed me talking or enjoyed anything about this, please give me a thumbs up here. You can support me 100% for free by doing that. Just give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or card ideas, something that you'd like to see made, make sure you leave me a comment in the comment section below. I don't get a ton of comments. I do reply to each and every one though, so that's great. But maybe if I get so many comments, I'm overwhelmed and I don't catch up right away. I would love to have that problem. That'd be a great problem to have. But if you like this video, again, you give me a thumbs up. You can share this with a friend. You can just click below and there is a link that you can share with friends. You can text it. You can share it in an email. So many different things. And also, if you're new here, and I should have said this in the beginning, welcome and thank you for joining me. If you haven't already, subscribe, but if you do, make sure there's a little bell down there. If you turn on the notifications when I post a new video or I go live, hopefully that'll happen sometime in the next several months. Oh, that's crazy, but it'll let you know when I do. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thanks for stopping by.